haven't put together my second lighter rod yet. Oh, can hear some activity. I think those are bass. There's bass in here too. So this actually used to be a pay pond, from my understanding, and I imagine they either went out of business or when the rules changed, they had to close. So one of the things that changed here in Japan was at one point you could pretty much have any type of exotic in a pay pond that you wanted. But because of problems with invasives, that changed and it became much stricter as far as the licensing for particularly problematic invasive fish. Looks like something's playing with it. And bass and bluegill are on the problematic invasive list. So now there's only a few pay ponds left in Japan that are allowed to do bass. There's one in Saitama, I know, or was, I'm not sure if it still is. And there's one in Tokyo. But the one in Tokyo also does snakehead, which is actually, if I was going to go there, probably go chase snakehead. All right, so I'm going to set up the ultralight rod off camera, just behind you guys. Now, over here. To be honest, I don't love this tripod. Well, this is a gimbal that has a tripod feature, and it doesn't work very well, to be totally honest. It's not very stable. I might be switching you to the shorter tripod, because the nice thing about this tripod is it's tall. If I stick a stick under here, that'll help it stay up. Oh yeah, that's the trick. No, this tripod's not good. Switch the other one. Just give me a moment. There it goes. Now it doesn't want to refocus. Yeah. Hi, Grant. I'm still setting up, actually. I just got here. I've got one rod in the water. Got to set up my second one. Nothing yet. They are saying it might be a sunny, hot one. Probably should have come out an hour earlier, actually. Doesn't. Their time of year. let's get some tubing on there. Not sure what I want to use for a float. I got a few. Not the slide type. On top now, short. That one's cool. So you can buy, there's a shop that just has these random floats. Like you don't know what size you're going to get. It's 300 yen, which is like $250 US. Alright, so weight on there. Yeah, another weight in the bag. Next up, a hook. They are, I think those are bass. Pretty active today. Almost. The weight's too heavy for this float, so I'm going to try this other float. If not, I'll just take the weight off. Not the end of the world. Short casting with that one isn't a problem. Oh, this one's also not wood. Let me try to put you guys a little closer. We got 2 rods out now, finally. That took forever. It is a very relaxing place. Hello, everybody. This is just a nice kind of random pond I found in Ibaraki. Oh, got my bait. more left than I wanted. I'll come back and chat in a minute. Change the other one. Those figuring out the right flow is an absolute pain. All right, everyone, how are we doing today? I'll move this a little over here. I have fished here before. I actually have a video of me fishing here. This is where during that 4-week winter fishing league, this is where I caught that bass. So I have fished here a few times. As far as I know, there's only bluegill and bass in here. So this used to be a pay pond that closed. I don't know if it was for financial reasons or if it was because of the change in regulations around the pay ponds in Japan. I don't know what the reason was, but it closed. There's one pond here, and there's another one behind us, which is less water and was recently drained, so I'm not sure if there's any fish in there, actually. So yeah, it was probably one of those pay ponds that was going to try to simulate fishing in North America. They had bass, they had bluegill, and it closed. Left the fish, left the ponds. Japan used to be pretty laissez-faire about that type of stuff. It's not anymore. There's been lots of problems with invasive bass, bluegill being some of the worst. There's some places with what are they called? There's invasive catfish in some parts of Ibaraki, kind of to the south of where I am now. But this place I actually found because I was bicycling down that road, because that focus. So this road here is actually one of the easiest ways to go from Mashiko, leave Tochigi Prefecture, and get into Ibaraki Prefecture. So sometimes if I'm going to Ibaraki, I just bicycle down it. My phone does not want to focus today. What's up? Oh, it's the movement of the water from the wind. Surface, maybe we're going to brought flies. Should have gotten a coffee at the shop on my way. You can see here. I'm gonna move the camera. Keeps doing it. If you look out towards that little island, there's actually a lot of activity around it. Lots of people bass fishing. It's that time of year. So this water, you can catch and release bass, but there are some waters here in Japan that, because of the invasive problem, they'll have these signs about how you cannot return. It's illegal to return the bass or the bluegills. It kind of went from fun introduced species to in the public's eye to a bit of a menace and a problem fish. There's a slight breeze and current, so the lighter setup slowly drifts in. The other side of the pond wasn't busy with bass fishermen. I probably would have set up the other side so that the wind would slowly push them away instead of back in towards me. maybe it's the real. You can't really get a real long cast with it for some reason. It's a little stiff, I think, is part of the problem for a light medium. Also, part of why I like ultralights. Yeah, more wind. Hopefully it doesn't turn into a really windy day. Yeah, here, let me give you a quick tour of the location. So, this is the first pond, which has more water. I think this one is quite a bit deeper. And I see fish activity in this one. I don't see fish activity in the other one. Yeah, a lot of stuff around the island. And there's a second pond here. And about a year or two ago, they actually drained this pond. And I don't hear or see any fish activity. I don't think there's much ever left in here. I imagine they'll eventually drain this one too, and that'll kind of be the end of this being a big fishing spot. Not that there's a ton of fish in here. Then they'll probably restock it with koi, tuna, local species. It might already be if they stock it. Might be one of those things. Sometimes they leave. Yeah, if local people care about stocking it, they'll stock it themselves. Type deal. I guess fishing topwater. Focus. It's the truck. That's the problem. It's the cars. The car's moving is taking it out of focus. I think the bass I think they are spawning, and that's the sound. I don't know them super well. No, I live kind of on the border between Tochigi and Ibaraki prefecture. So I live in Tochigi. But basically, anywhere south of me is Ibaraki. So if you go up that road, um, uh, if you go up that road just a little ways, you're going to be in Mashiko, which is the city I work in. And then from there, it's not too far. It's like 4 or 5 kilometers. You're going to get towards central Mashiko. Oh, just jumped right by my float. So no, this is a pretty easy bicycle ride. It maybe takes me 45 minutes to get here from where I live. Although I did budget an hour. It didn't take an hour. Uh, yeah, Japan is. It's kind of also interesting because we always think of like really, really urban Japan, which is geographically a very small part of it. That kind of Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, that corridor between them is pretty developed. And then once you get out of it, there is a lot of countryside. So I'm kind of on the edge of it. Um, but geographically, this is kind of the edge of the Kanto plain. So once you go over those hills there, you're in the Kanto plain. And it is, flat and mostly farmland. Historically very important because you could grow lots of food. Still is important for the same reason. Look at them go out. I think they know, like, because the island is kind of not the easiest place to cast towards. I think a lot of them hang out close to the island. That bass I caught for the winter tournament, it was pretty close to the island. I had a different rod. I was actually using the rod I used mostly for carp. Put a bunch of weight on it, a slip bobber, and just absolutely bombed it out there. I kind of was considering doing the same thing today, but I was like, there's going to be other people, and they're going to get annoyed if I do that. When there's no one around, I'll find a way to do it. Didn't have it hooked on very well. Yeah, this is late line. That's my excuse. It wasn't my time. It was the light line. Little coop. An absolute scorcher. Jeez. Guys by the island are busy. For right now, I'm just using live bait. I don't have a lot of. Most of my lures are trout lures. I don't have a lot of lures that are not trout lures. I could have grabbed. I have some soft plastics that I got at one point, and then like used once. of this self-reinforcing cycle where it's like, I mostly use live bait and hard bait, so then I mostly buy live bait and hard bait, but I never practice stuff. So yeah, I bought soft bait, meaning to like, oh, I'm gonna try soft bait. I'm gonna try using it and learning how to use it effectively. And then you use it once or twice, and you're like, I don't catch anything with this. I'll switching back to live bait or hard bait. Although I didn't pack any hard bait, I kind of just packed kind of a bare minimum today. Didn't pack too much. Might pull out jig later. Yeah, let's go take a look at where we've been hearing that action over there. Focus. I'll try to keep this as steady as possible. Yes, I've actually been hearing action over there. So I'm kind of tempted to take the jig. Oh, I should have brought the frog. Pheasant. You can hear a pheasant way in the background. It's kind of nasty, weedy stuff. I'm not even sure I want to use the jig. Frog? Flapper? That's more of a catfish thing. So I found I'm pretty sure it's a catfish lure while I was walking along the river. Maybe I should have brought flies for top action. I found a catfish lure, or what I think is a catfish lure, while I was walking along the river. So I kind of want to buy new hooks for it and try catfish fishing, which I've never done with a lure. One of those top ones that's got like the wings. I'm sure they have a technical name that I'm forgetting. You can even almost see them near the surface. Actually, I bet that other in Mashiko near Nanai, so probably literally take that road north for 45 minutes on the bicycle. Yeah, maybe almost an hour. And you're going to get to this other place in Nanai, which I actually fish quite a bit too. the live stream where I was walking in the snow, that was the big pond that I went around. That place will probably have a ton of people now. They supposedly are bass in there too. I've never seen a bass in there, but people keep saying there's bass in there. I just see carp. Huh, yeah. Not seeing a single person pull a fish out of here today. If I wanted to guarantee show you catches, I should have gone microfishing. Look at that, they're starting to jump over there. Something more actively close to the G. Oh, my scissors are over here.
Got excited for a second.
I've caught nothing so far. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, I'm gonna try a little more on that side with the jig. Let's see a bit of activity over there. Hope they don't want corn today because I left the corn at home. Nothing yet. I'm gonna try kind of attacking more of that. Yeah, let me check chat. No, it does. We had a little bit of wind earlier coming in towards my face. We got a little bit going this way out now, but it's almost imperceptible. I can only kind of tell it is by the float moving very slowly over there. So I'm going to try sending the jig off this way now. Let me grab sunglasses. That would be great. Cast that one soon too. Oh wait, that's right. I transferred my sunglasses to the other bag and then didn't take that bag. I forgot. All right. Maybe it's hat time. If it gets too bright, I might be really unhappy. I didn't bring my sunglasses. Well, I'm not fishing all day. That's our big catch of the day so far. Yeah, I think it's the trucks that cause the issue. So actually, I'm gonna try. Maybe if I put it more like this. I think the trucks and the cars going by are causing the focusing issues. It's funny because using a GoPro, I feel so spoiled about how easily that focuses. I'm getting good at catching the green stuff on the bottom. In this pond today, no. In this pond in the past, yes. Um, this winter, I caught a bass in here. It was like, I want to say 25 centimeters. That was more than that. No, it was actually quite a bit more than that. It was 37 centimeters. That's right. I pulled the 37 centimeter out of this one this winter. Caught bluegills in here before. You can kind of hear fishing activity. I've never seen a lot of people catch out of here, and I've never caught a large amount out of here. But um, honestly, it's kind of close to where I live. It's the closest place with bluegills to where I live. I think that's the main story or fact about it. Yeah, I'm gonna try. Because I hear a fish being aggressive over there. Has the avoiding the cars helped at all with the staying in focus? You gotta check that bait. Yeah, I don't know if there are catfish in here. Um, I've only ever caught one catfish in Japan, and that was actually by chance. It was I was fishing. It was on a worm. It was really targeting like dace and chub, basically anything in canals, and I ended up hooking something pretty big, and it was a catfish. And landed it. It was not huge. They are more codfish, the catfish here. They don't get absolutely huge, I don't believe. Like maybe a few kilos at most, and that one was not a large example for them. There are in parts of Ibaraki, I've heard there are there's an invasive species of codfish you can find in Ibaraki in some parts. I think it's green or something like that. There's some weird invasives in Ibaraki though. Ibaraki feels like the place where if there's some type of strange thing that shouldn't be here, it's gonna be Ibaraki. Yeah, it's actually like because when I lived in the United States, I lived in New York and I've lived in Massachusetts. Although my family's from Texas, that's the weird part. So kind of never really did much catfishing. In New York, Massachusetts, there was something called locally it was called a hornpout, which I think it's a species of catfish, but it's not like those huge ones that you'll find in other areas. Maybe there are huge catfish in New York and Massachusetts. I just never knew about them or fished for them. So that would be kind of a cool thing, like catching a really huge catfish. That would be like on my bucket list. Just like Arctic grayling, that's also on my bucket list. What else do you have fishing? Seriously, you tried, you tried searching it. Actually, sort of on my list of lures I want to try. I keep seeing them, but I've never bought one. Is cicadas are very prevalent in Japan. Cicada lures. That one's worm and bobber. This one's a jig. I don't have any other live bait. I should try just catching one of these bugs and putting one on. The cicadas, those are easier. No, that one's too small. That's cute. You can still see some blossoms falling from the tree. We are pretty much done with cherry blossoms now. Yeah, I kind of just packed light. I grabbed worms, hooks, some jig heads, and that's it. Yeah, didn't even bring any plastics. Almost brought flies because sometimes I put fly on the rod and reel. Kind of wish I had now because there seems to be some surface action going on. Oh well. You can free float and hook worm. That would actually stay pretty high up in the water column. Let's try that. Let's see if we'll drag it. Not actually. Trying to free float or whatever. It's a tactic here for. To be totally honest, it's usually used with cicadas. A light looking hook. No, I want that one. No, too heavy. No, it requires a weird knot. There we go. Let's see this one. Yeah. scissors over here. Let's try this. Alright, so we're gonna let that try to just kind of free float off while I see if we can find a bug to hook. Sizable bug. Fortunately, it's not cicada season yet, otherwise this would be really. Look. I just gotta get him to come a little closer to shore. No, a water bug had enough of me harassing him. goddamn hook. No luck on catching a bug. It's supposed to be a year for scout. Great. There's always a ton of them, too. Well, now I really feel like I should buy those cicada baits since they're going to be everywhere. It's a little early for them now, though. 13 and 17 are great. They're just noisy. Like just all, well, last year here was not bad. There was just not that many cicadas last year here. Which was kind of nice. Yeah. Just does not stop. Unending. Yeah. Yeah. Seriously. Oh, 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 oh. I got this from JSY, which is a fishing shop here in Japan. They're a pretty big chain. Um, it was just on sale, and the other big thing was it fits inside my backpack, which are kind of the two big that's the window. Which are kind of the two big requirements for me. Um, I am thinking I'm gonna buy like a cargo rack for my bicycle, which will make traveling a bit easier. We're also looking at getting into doing more camping. Yeah, I actually bought it right before I went to All Right last time. I did a live stream there, and actually did a video about it. That was my April Fool's video where I talked about I was gonna quit fishing and take up golf, and used it quite a bit there. It was kind of perfect, and then it sort of has been kind of a regular on most of my trips now. I also took it out when I went to Nico for cherry trout. That was a fun trip. Yeah, so, because of the way this valley is, the wind actually keeps changing directions. So now the wind is going left. Previously it was going right. One point was coming towards me. Oh, 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 oh. Why was it not maybe it's a small detail? I had caught some time. One time I came home for Michael. The other nice thing about that stand in particular is it's actually got spikes on the bottom. They're not super sharp, but they're sharp enough that, you can force them into the ground, and they do help a lot with stability. There are some flat bottom ones that are really just made for fishing kind of off of jetties, along the ocean, but which would be fine for like some places, but not. It really helps here and other places I've been that have the little spikes in the bottom. Yeah, fortunately not windy. We'll say this: if everybody else was catching fish and I wasn't, I'd feel like a real idiot right now. The fact that nobody else is catching fish makes me feel a little better about myself. Uh, so before I bought that, I actually used a camera tripod. Um, I used a damaged, well, not damaged. The top part was damaged where you hook it on. I could have fixed it, but I just bought a new one because it was cheapy. I used a cheap tripod. It was okay. You could lean one rod against it pretty well. Wasn't great. I like this thing better. I also like, if you really wanted to, there's a hook. You could put a bucket or hang something underneath. Actually, when you do that, it kind of helps with stability. So I've seen plenty of people with this type, or the slightly taller version, hanging their bait bucket. Yeah, that does work pretty well too. I do that. There's a place in the Nanai section of Mashiko that actually has lots of trees and branches. So one of the problems with a lot of waterways around Japan that I don't like is that they are pretty cleared out. This one's actually comparatively not bad, but there are lots of waters in Japan where there just is nothing close to the water. It's all open and exposed, and the trees have been cut down and all that fun stuff. Uh, this is actually part of the reason I bought a tent. Was there are some places where I like to fish, but in the summer it becomes miserable. There's no shade, there's no trees. I like that there's actually trees near this pond. Part of the reason, probably part of the other reason I go there. But there's this pond in Nanai, which is actually has a forest on one side and isn't clear cut around it, so you can actually find sticks. So, you know, sometimes it works, but I've found it's more reliable to just buy something like this and start putting it in my backpack for trips. You know, I bought this carp rig. It's a floating rig, so it's supposed to float the bait. I haven't tried it out yet. It's sitting in my office. I want to try it out, make a YouTube video about it. Um, and I wish I brought that right now. Actually, the carp bell, that's another rig I want to try for carp. I also want to, my big heavy ocean rod that I got for super cheap, I kind of want to put better line on it, like braid and shock leader and stuff like that, which will mean that I put more money into the line. I should probably already have put more money into the, no, I haven't. Probably means I put more money into the line than is actually paid for the rod and reel. Because I paid $1,000 for the rod and reel, and then I took some size 6, which is about 25-pound test US. Put it on there. That's what I was ocean fishing with. I'm hopefully gonna go ocean fishing again next weekend. Try to do another live stream on the GoPro. Yeah, that's. I understand why they clear access to most waterways. Just as far as, A, access, B, I think there's some water clarity stuff that comes into it. Um, they like it to be seen, things like that. I do wish they left a few more trees up, though, in a lot of places. However, the reality is the rivers are managed more for agricultural and to avoid flooding, particularly some of the rivers around here that have a history of flooding. They are managed, and everything around them is focused on controlling the water. That's the first priority, understandably. We had that one nibble, nothing since. Let's see. It's 8:30 here. After this, I have to go see if we can find a well, actually, I have to prepare the bamboo that I picked yesterday. It's already been cut up. It just needs to be blanched. So that's the process where you boil it with rice bran. Rice bran is, when you harvest rice, it's brown. So to get white rice, you use water to basically peel the brown away from the rice, the shell, and then the leftover shell, if you dry it, it turns into a powder, and that powder is actually useful for cooking. So people use it as like a starch. And the other thing it's really useful for, from my perspective, is blanching. So you boil bamboo with that um, powder, and it makes the bamboo softer and more palatable. Look at that, there's decent sized fish making waves over there. Oh, bluegill. Not even decent size. Yeah, I should have brought my fly rod, I feel like, and flies. I might have had more luck. Oh well, or even just flies on the spinning reel. So yeah, I gotta blanch bamboo. I've gotta find a. Wonder if we have a socket wrench. My wife swears we do. It's in a closet. My wife rearranges things quite regularly. Japanese knotweed. Yes, that stuff. Pond review. I should do a live stream at one of the rivers. Some of the rivers, unfortunately, have horrible cell phone reception. Where was I? Yeah, you'll see some decorative fish, pets. Yeah, yeah, Japanese knotweed. You can actually eat that too. So you cannot eat it raw. Well, a lot of those plants you can't eat raw, actually. So with the Japanese knotweed, when in the spring or any time of year when the babies start to come up, the shoots. So you take the shoots just like normal bamboo. You dig them out, you cut them through the bottom, take them home, you peel them. So you're left with just an inside core, just like bamboo actually. And then you cut it up. I usually cut them in half. Some people cut them in fourths. And then you boil it. And a lot of times here you blanch it. So you boil it with the powder from rice. You can also use wheat, I think. Some people just straight out boil it. There's a few different ways to do it. I personally, this is just the world according to Dylan, find that it's better to first submerge them in cold water for a while and help clean them off, and then start the whole boiling process. And then what I do, my wife doesn't do this, we disagree on this. I actually, once they're done boiling and let them cool, I put them in a plastic bag and fill it with the water from the boiling that's now cold, and leave them in the fridge for 24 hours. I find it makes a softer, more palatable product. Other people say it's unnecessary. My wife's one of those, so we disagree on that. She, well, it's not even that she says unnecessary. She says it's too much work for just a little bit of flavor gain and tenderness. That's our disagreement. Maybe it was the wind that was messing with the focus, because that car didn't mess up the focus at all. Oh, koi, you can eat them. So with koi, the way it's traditionally eaten here is You catch them, you actually try to keep them alive, bring them home, and put them in clean water for 2 or 3 days. And then you kill them with a spike to the head. You want to clear out the body, and then usually it can be served as soup, or a lot of times it's cooked with sugar and soy sauce. But yeah, I pull up koi sometimes. Yeah, young. Eat it when it's young, red, the shoots. Then I guess I've eaten knotweed a few times. One of the nice things I guess about knotweed is that a small patch of it you can get a lot. I've never prepared. No, I've helped prepare knotweed once. I've never prepared it personally. I just know how to do it because I prefer bamboo personally. Actually, we're having bamboo tonight. There's a lot of foods in Japan that just are not eaten that much anymore, though, and koi is one of them. So, particularly after World War II, late 40s into the 50s, there was a lot more. Well, the country was poor. There was a lot more protein deficit. Was one of the problems too. And this is actually a historical problem in Japan where it's hard to get protein. So before modern farming practices, there wasn't really enough space to produce much meat. And so then your options were fish. Well, particularly the inland areas like where I live, that was a bit of a problem. There wasn't as much fish. So there were things that were eaten that now we just don't consider eating that much. So koi, so for example, my coworkers who are in their 50s, they've eaten koi. They're pretty familiar with it. But if I talk to my younger coworkers, they probably have never eaten it. And some of the sensei, particularly some of the ones that are a little rougher that I'll mention to them, they might be like, "Oh yeah, I remember sensei's foraged fruit, foraged vegetable." They might be like, "Okay, I remember eating that as a kid, but I haven't eaten that in years." And if I ask some of the younger coworkers, they've never eaten it or didn't know you could eat it. For example, one of my young coworkers was talking about dandelions. They didn't know you could eat that. They thought that one was poisonous. Nanahana. Most of them know you can eat nanahana. They just don't like it because of the taste. Nanahana is a little rough. It's very bitter. My kid likes it. So, but I also think that's a socialization thing. She'll see we're out walking in the early spring. I'll pick nanahana and just eat it while we walk. So then she wants to eat it too. The older stalks, they can't really eat the older stalks as far as I know. They are used in some crafts. Um, the problem with knotweed versus bamboo is that knotweed doesn't grow as straight and isn't as it's a little more brittle from my understanding, so not as many things are made out of the um, the bodies of them. Now, what you can do is you can cut them, dry them, and then use heat to straighten them out. They're not going to be as strong. Is the only issue. Charcoal, actually. That's historically what it was used for. It would be turned into charcoal, the older um, knotweed. Doesn't have the same building use. There's actually a species of bamboo. I don't remember its name, but one of its nicknames was basically arrow bamboo because it would grow these nice, kind of very even, thin, straight stalks, and these were used as shafts for arrows. So if you, they don't normally grow up in this part of Japan. This is too far north. They're from further south. But if you find a patch of them, usually there was a castle nearby. So this species of bamboo would be introduced up here for the sole purpose of making arrows. And so a lot of times you'll find them near castle sites. So if you go down to Mito, for example, they have a huge section of these arrow bamboo. And some of it is because we don't cut them for arrows anymore. The other part is that Mito was a pretty serious place militarily. They were the Mito Takagawas. They were a sub branch of the Takagawa family. And so they made lots of weapons in Mito. That was a big thing in that area back in the Edo period. So you go there and there's just these huge amounts of this arrow bamboo. And then all of it was because, well, they made lots of arrows and weapons. Mito also had the problem with, there was a few revolts against the Takagawas there. Yeah, that would make sense. Just grind them up. From my understanding, they're pretty tough, invasive to deal with because of the roots. You know, like any bamboo species, they root pretty deep. There's this one bluegill over there. I keep seeing him jump. He's like eating the bugs off the surface. I'm really wishing I'd brought flies. Yeah, no, huge. So you can pretty much cut everything and they'll come back. You can pretty much cut the entire system of on the surface and they will just come back. All right, let's check the baits. Well, we got robbed at some point, or it just came off. that step on a bit too deep. Alright, let me change this up, a little bit lighter. Also found a smaller hook. Here. Okay, let's get a worm. You're buried at the bottom. No, there's a worm. Let's be worried that I didn't run out of worms. All right, I'm back. Absolutely great. Thank you for coming in, David. Yeah, no, they are definitely naturally designed to be a pain. Sounds good. Probably can only do this for another hour or so, anyways. Not just from the not catching any fish, but also, family and other things in life that have to be done. So now it'll either be in the live stream or throw you guys on the bicycle, which would be one bumpy ride. There might be carp in here, actually. Somebody's setting up to go carp fishing. There's this guy over here. He's setting up a carp setup by the looks of it. So one very common way to carp fish here is a pretty solid, stiff rod, and it's a fixed line. And then from the fixed line, you go out and they have a float. It's this super long float. It's actually pretty impressive looking. They're like 1,000 yen each. They're like $8 each, these floats. And then from the float, they go down and they have a bit of pack bait. And then from the pack bait, they have a hook onto like a piece of corn or some other piece of the pack bait. And then they put in, yeah, seriously. And they bunch it together. The fish come in, they eat the pack bait, and then one of them grabs the hook and gets hooked, hopefully. It looks fun in a very like relaxed old man type of way. But by the time you actually get all the equipment to do that, it's a pretty big cost investment if you get all the parts. The rest, the rod, those are all pretty pricey. So usually if I'm fishing for carp fixed line, I use a slightly different setup using 450 and then braid, or like basically a shock leader, kind of like a Tenkara leader, and then hooks below. I have a lot more, well, no. When I have specialized stuff, it's usually for trout fishing. Although I have bought some specialized carp stuff by now, but a lot of that's not for fixed line. Actually, in my life, my wife might also call me and tell me it's time to come home too. Like, hey, we gotta do something. It's not Golden Week yet. Yeah. Yeah, I want to try. So, in the beginning of April, there's a holiday here called Golden Week, so I don't have work. I want to try getting out and doing carp fishing live stream, and that can be an exercise in just waiting. least the birds are pleasant. Got a few paperbacks out of the fishing. Now we continue to wait. Yeah, so bluegill, welcome in Glacier Shark. Bluegill are an invasive here in Japan. They were originally brought here to experiment as a food fish. And then over time, some escaped. Some were purposefully released. And because they lay their eggs next to a local species of fish, they sometimes get accidentally introduced when there's an attempt to stalk Funa, Japanese white carp, and bluegill eggs get mixed in, and then bluegills move into a new area. So, yeah, they're kind of invasive. They're problematic. Now, this section here, this used to be a pay pond that closed down, and they were kind of, I guess, simulating North American fishing. They had bass, they had bluegill, and they closed down, but you can still fish here. So I've actually pulled a bass out of here before. It was 38 centimeters, so like 16-ish inches. I've pulled bluegill out of here before. We can hear like some fish activity, but it's being fished pretty hard right now. No luck. But at least for my own ego's sake, I haven't seen anybody else catch a fish here today, so it makes me feel better about myself.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if this pay pond closed down because it wasn't economical or because of the rule change about pay ponds and invasive species. So for a while, it was kind of pretty lax. You could, as long as your pond looked like it wasn't going to feed into other water systems, you could have basically anything you wanted in the pay pond. Well, that became a problem. So they changed the regulations. You had to get certified, and I guess it's pretty for certain species that are considered problematic invasives. And I guess it's pretty hard to get certified for bass, and so there's not many places to do bass anymore. There used to be, I guess, quite a few, and so some of the places they switched to doing trout. Other places closed. There's a place in Saitama and there's a place in Tokyo that I know of where you can do bass in a pay pond. There might be one. No, Oyama. It's some other. Ergo, Ugo. There's someone. There's a pay pond in Oyama that does like some really weird species, but it's super expensive. um, there's a pay pond in Tokyo that's snakehead. Bullseye, not the northern. Maybe that is the northern. The big snakeheads. I kind of would love to go there sometime. It's not crazy expensive either. It's in a former castle boat. I think I just saw Bluegill over there while I was reeling that in. I think he snagged. There we go. Oh, 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 oh. It wasn't snagged. Somebody pulled it down. Let it go. Oh, that's pretty with the cherry. The last cherry blossoms coming down. I bet my bait's gone. No, it's not. Half of it's gone. All right. Hopefully, I can show you a picture on Discord. All right, everyone. I am actually not much battery left, to be totally honest. So, anyone watching on the replay, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing, everyone. I will see you in our next adventure.